Hi everyone. Today I will be talking about Supabase Edge function, a modern approach to build a serverless backend using edge computing. In this video, you will learn what edge computing is, how Supabase Edge function work, and when you should or shouldn't use Supabase over other backend platform. So let's get started. Before we dive into Supabase, let's quickly understand edge computing. Traditionally, your backend server sits in one region. So let's say it sits on Singapore. When a user in New York sends a request, it travels all the way to Singapore and back. So that adds a latency. So the edge computing flips this. Instead of one centralized server, your code runs on distributed nodes around the world. Close to whatever the user is, latency mean faster response. So Supabase Edge function use this idea by deploying your function globally using the Duno runtime. So we come to what are Supabase Edge function. A Supabase is an open source backend as a service platform. You might know it as an alternative to Firebase. And edge function are one feature of Supabase that lets you run custom server-side logic, such as calling a third-party API securely without exporting your key in the front end, send email after a form submission, or let's say running a data transformation before storing to your database. Those are event-driven. They only run when triggered, so you don't pay for idle server time. So now, let's answer the key question. When you should or shouldn't use Supabase. So here is a comparison I made between Supabase Edge function, AWS Lambda, and Firebase Cloud function. So as you can see, it had their own runtime, but Supabase had a very fast cool start and a free open source. So you should use a Supabase when you're already on a Supabase and want a seamless database access. You care about open source and avoiding vendor login, and low latency matter for you, global user. And when you should avoid Supabase, so your team is deeply integrated in AWS or Firebase already, or you need a large Node.js library ecosystem, and you need a complex multi-service orchestration. So now, since edge function run on Duno, let's quickly understand how it's different from Node.js, which most of you are probably more familiar with. So first, no package JSON. Instead of installing package, do not import it directly via URL. Second, do not have a built-in TypeScript support. No extra setup need. And third, and most important, Duno is secure by default. A Duno script cannot be accessed your file system, network, or environment variable unless you are explicitly grant permission. This is why Supabase should Duno over Node.js for edge function. It's modern, secure, and lightweight. So one of the biggest reasons to use the edge function is the security. When you call a third-party API directly from your front end, your API key is exposed in the browser. Anyone can open a dev tool and steal it. So with edge function, the flow change completely. So your front end send a request to your edge function. The edge function holds the API key as an environment variable, and it called the third-party API on the server side. Only the result come back to the front end. So the client never see the key at any point. On top of that, Dino itself is secure by default, unlike Node.js. Arduino script cannot access your file system, network, or environments unless you explicitly allow it. So even if your function code had a bug, the damage it contained. This is exactly what we will see in the demo coming up next. So before we jump into the demo, here are a few real-world scenarios where edge functions are commonly used. So first is the API proxy. Hide your OpenAI or payment API key from the front end. Webhook handler receive and process the payment event. Auth middleware validate a JWT token before it touches your database. And lastly, a data transformation. Reshape or filter data before storing it. Those are all lightweight, fast tag, exactly what edge functions are designed for. So now we're going to move on to the demo. Okay, so now we will start a demo. In this case, I'm going to make an edge function to retrieve data from product table. So I'm going to create everything from the scratch. First, when you are logged into the Supabase account, you have to create a project. So in this case, I'm going to create. Okay. Okay, so now we got a demo project. In the left side, you will see a lot of things. The table and the data, edge function. Okay, so what we're going to use today is a table editor and the edge function. So we will start up with creating a new table called product. Let's say product. Okay. So I'm going to add content. Let's say a name to be a string. Text. Okay. So we're going to remove a create at because it already contains a name of the item. And now I'm going to ask the price of the item to be numerical. Okay. So I'm going to save. Okay, we now create a product table. And then I'm going to insert the data. So you have a choice to insert a row, a column, and import data from CSV. In this case, I'm going to import data. So I have a script, a text string, and paste it. So we have a item, laptop, wireless, mouse, mechanical keyboard, USB-C, and monitor, which have their own price. Okay, so I'm going to import it. Okay, we already have here a product table. Then we are going to move on to create a add function. Okay, so the add function of the Supabase have you have three ways to create a add function. First is you create by your own via editor or ask AI assistant to make it for you, or you can create a default function locally. But if you just want only a template, the Supabase provides some for you. But in this case, I'm going to use an AI assistant to create a add function. So you can just ask the AI to write the function for you. So in this case, I'm going to get all the data from product table. So here, product table. Okay, then I send a message. Let's wait a bit. Okay, so it will explain if they can do something. It will explain, but in this case, if it can make the function, you have a choice to deploy it or skip. So I'm going to deploy. Okay, so now we got the add function already. So I'm going to inspect them a bit. Okay, so you can just edit the code that they give you. If it's not complete or it have some bug, so reminder, it's not 100% working. It may work or not. It depends. Okay. So after we got a add function already, I'm going to call it from the front end, but today I will use a Postman instead of create a full website. So we're going to copy this link, and now we're going to the Postman. I'm going to create a HTTP request to the Supabase from that link. Yeah. Okay. So now we try to send the request, get request. Let's see. Okay, so now it tells us that we have an unauthorized header. So we need a header to send the request with it. So we go back to the Supabase and we'll get an API key from Supabase. Okay, so we're going to the project setting and the API key. Now I'm going to go to, let's see, Aeon and copy this link. Okay, so we come back to a Postman and add a header, API key, and then paste the value that we copy from it, and authorization. We also have to insert a bad token also. Okay, now we're going to send again. Okay, so we already got the data. Simple. and easy. Okay, so we're going to look on the add function again, and you see the status that gets sent, and here we have status code of 400 and 200 as we use on the postman, as we request from the postman, sorry. And that's all for the demo. After we finish the demo, to wrap up, Supabase edge function is a powerful, low latency serverless solution. It's great when you want a fast global performance, built-in database access, and an open source stack. And as we saw, it's an excellent way to keep your API key safe. If you're building a modern app and want to keep your backend light, edge function is absolutely worth trying. Thank you for watching.